Welcome to another episode of Dungeon Hammer, brought to you by One Mind Syndicate. I am your host, Gershwin, and I'm here with
The Sound Alchemist.
Docile Creature.
And today we're going to be talking about implementing demons in your Dungeons and Dragons game. How have you guys done it?
I think not so well so far, because I feel like demons are such a daunting and well-known creature, being, that a lot of people already have their own image and their own beliefs behind demons, that when you try to like change it up a little bit, I feel like it kind of clashes with what they expect it to be.
So what specific scenarios have you encountered where like your players just don't respond to the actual demon?
Right. So in the campaign that I've been playing with, if you caught the other podcast we had, check it out if you didn't, where we talk about horror, I have a character who's playing Link. And Link has the Triforce of Courage. So when I put a demon in front of him, he's not afraid of it. Like, to him, it's just any other ordinary creature.
Yeah.
So I want to put the demon there to show them that, hey, this is more than just your ordinary, like, thing to kill.
Yeah.
But to him, he's unfazed by it.
And I feel like that's kind of like the biggest downside, not even necessarily for that specific character, is demons in general, as a lot of times they're just used as, hey, this is the monster, and it just happens to be a demon. It's not accentuated that it's a demon, because demons they're scary. Like, they have the possibility of doing some interesting things, and when they're just used as, go into this room, there's some demons, fight the demons, just like any other monster. Like, they might as well have just been goblins that can do different abilities at that point.
Yeah.
But I think there's possibilities to use demons in really exciting and different ways than just things to fight in a room or whatever.
Yeah. What are those cool scenarios that you guys have come up with to use demons?
I just feel like they should be used. We can take inspiration from movies a lot, because a lot of horror movies have demons in them, and they're not used like typical D&D. You don't even necessarily really see them for most of the movie, if at all. And I think you should use some interesting ways is possess your characters, like make them speak through one of the PCs. That's one of the stereotypical problems for villains in D&D is that you want them to do this big monologue, but then the players just kill them right away before they can finish.
Yeah.
But if they're speaking through possessing one of your players, I mean, that'd be a cool way to get a monologue out, I guess.
Yeah, because it's like they're hesitant to hit, your own party member.
Because it's not really, I mean, they're looking at their friend. They're not looking at the thing that they can just kill.
Right.
So treating them as like an alternate dimensional creature that isn't even corporeal, right?
Yeah.
That's a good way of making them different than just your run-of-the-mill like goblin or any other bad guy. And it introduces completely different settings for you to throw your party, especially if that possession, because you can't really defeat a possession. What are you going to do? Kill the player that's possessed?
No, you go to your Catholic priest ASAP.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It is also introduces pretty interesting role play situations for, like, if you have a cleric or a paladin in the group.
Yeah.
Try to do like a exorcism or something and
turn undead.
Yeah, and see how successful that could be.
Maybe also pretty interesting to be the one possessed. No, you've got to talk like this and spin your head around and throw up on people.
And vomit on the players at the table. And
other than that, when it comes to the actual minor demons, have you guys used like minor demons?
I don't like using minor demons because I myself I'm an adult. So I don't want to be seen with any minors of any kind.
That's a nice pun.
But minor demons, they're pretty interesting because they usually like mine for coal or that kind of thing.
He's still going.
He's still going.
Oh, minor demons as in lesser demons.
Correct.
I got you now.
Your quasits, your imps.
Yeah.
Quasits. Those are demons?
Yeah, those are demons. Or imps are devils.
So then let's talk about that. What's the big difference between a devil and a demon? Because my characters seem to think they're really similar, if not the same thing.
Well, they kind of are.
In real life,
the
two words are interchangeable.
Right.
Demon and devil mean the same kind of thing.
Yep.
But
In D&D.
In D&D, they're a lot different.
How?
In terms of the lore, I thought they were just like two opposite sides, kind of like Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, they have like the major alliances are different, but I thought in terms of gameplay, are there mechanics for devils that are different than mechanics for demons?
Mechanically, I'm not super sure. I'm sure there's different stuff depending on what you're doing, but more lore-wise, the demons are more chaotic and more ruthless, I guess, where devils are lawful. Like, they're more organized and stuff like that, yeah. So you're more willing to make deals with a devil than a demon necessarily.
With that knowledge, like making the party aware of that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Introducing the devil who explains the demons, and then they actually meet the demon, and they're like, "Yeah, let's go back to the devil, because this guy's just trying to rip my head off, and piss down my gullet."
That sounds like a good time.
Sign me up.
Now, the thing about what is it? It's either demons or devils that they have a hierarchy within the 9 hells.
I believe it's both, right?
Well, the 9 hells is specifically devil hell, and demon hell is called the abyss.
Gotcha.
So the hierarchy is pretty much just devil stuff. That's more organized and stuff like that.
So then, in most of your D&D campaigns, are you working around the lore of D&D, or is it more homebrew?
That's the beauty of D&D. You can do whatever you want. I tend to use what is in the book as a structure, like not necessarily go for word, but it just depends on how you want. You can make demons and devils the same thing if you want to. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the cool things between D&D and 40K, where they give you such a rich lore that you can pull things and make your own.
Yep. Since you mentioned 40K, and since we're talking about just homebrew, have you guys implemented any other demons from other genres into D&D?
Yes, actually, in my fan chapter for my Celestial Sons, check out 40 Facts on the Celestial Sons. I've been working on that homebrew fan chapter for 4 years now, and about a year ago, I decided to change things up where my Space Marines went chaos. Instead of joining one of the 4 chaos gods, Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, they actually joined with a minor god, and that is one of despair. So where Khorne is all about like blood, slaughter, fighting, obviously Nurgle is more about like staying alive through entropy, whether that means you have tentacles and whatnot. This minor chaos god gains its power from beings who've lost all hope. Hopelessness, that kind of thing, plays a huge part in the grim, dark abyss of 40K. So obviously, if you're being in a perpetual state of war, family members are dying, the longevity of life isn't so good, the quality of life isn't so good, despair runs rampant. And I feel like that's something that kind of can be seen in all the other 4 major gods, but I feel like that could be another piece of effect towards creating a new minor chaos god. So that's kind of what I've done with that aspect.
And that brings up a really fun thing that you can do with demons, connecting emotions to that demon. So if you are homebrewing and you don't want to use the monster manual, or at least the lore of D&D for the monster manual, choosing an emotion and then attaching it to that demon, that sounds like a lot of fun.
In a way, that's kind of like, from my understanding, what the chaos gods kind of are. There's different emotions attached to each one.
Right.
But or even the demon itself, kind of like what I'm thinking right now is like fear, and having a demon of fear and using the fear mechanic to scare your party. So it becomes a situation where, like, yes, the demon is there, he's physically there, and every single player that has ever played D&D would just go and attack the demon, but now his whole thing is fear, so they can't. They need to run away from this demon, and the challenge then becomes, well, how do we defeat a monster? How do we defeat a demon that we can't even go towards
Mhm.
because he is inflicting us with
such fear.
Yeah.
Now it forces you to think out the box, whether it's create a construct that has no notion of fear
Yeah.
and fight with that.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but also really challenging.
Yes.
I'd be interested to find out how people solve that.
In a game that the Sound Alchemist ran for us, he
Mhm.
had the 7 Deadly Sins, which is kind of demonic in the way that you.
Yeah, I mean, they were the underlings of Lucifer, so I guess you could kind of tie that in with demons and devils and stuff.
And it was cool how you, like, each one was attached to one of the 7 deadly sins, as opposed to an emotion necessarily, but like each gluttony and all that stuff was attached to that demon. It kind of like aesthetically and mechanically, it revolved around that specific sin.
Right.
And you had a lot of fun with giving us basically perks, and also in my situation, I think I didn't. It wasn't a perk, right? It was something bad that happened to me.
It was a negative. Basically, I made them choose whether they're going to fight for God or for Lucifer, and depending on who they chose to fight with, they were going to get a boon by basically mending their soul with either one of the 7 deadly sins if they went with Lucifer, or with one of the 10 commandments if they went with God.
And the heathens that we were
chose Lucifer and his sins.
Even though at the end, we had to kill both of them because they became one.
Right. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Which something that happened so long ago. But yeah.
When you use that, it does kind of showcase how if you are running a demon and your party does end up finally defeating this big bad guy, giving them perks like the ones that you gave us would be a lot of fun. Do you remember like what those perks were?
Vaguely. I know one of the characters he's not here right now, but he chose Wrath because obviously he wanted to be up close fighting and have that kind of aesthetic to him. So with Wrath, basically he did more damage if he was fighting up close. But his downside, which he never actually encountered his downside, was that whenever he fought, he got so into a frenzy that eventually he'd start losing who's friend and foe and just start hitting everyone. This was a mechanic that I didn't tell them, but secretly I was rolling behind my DM screen, and it unfortunately never coalesced in the game.
I don't remember what mine was, but I remember Gersh's was pretty funny.
He chose greed.
Yes.
Yep.
And he was so greedy in choosing that he didn't get anything out of it.
No boons.
Mm-mm.
I was upset. But attaching that stuff to demons is a lot of fun. What other things have you used in previous campaigns? Creature.
I don't have a ton of experience. I haven't used a lot of demons. Like one of my campaigns ended in hell but the demons were kind of just
okay.
Just
that's
leave it there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I kind of used them in the stereotypical way. It's like they were basically slaves in hell, and so they were kind of just taskmasters. They didn't really have an opportunity to fight them, and it was the more classic D&D way to use demons. So it's not a very good example. But again, pulling from pop culture and like movies and stuff, something that we continuously see in movies and stuff is true names. Like knowing the demon or the devil's name gives some sort of power over it.
Right. Which is very similar to 40K.
Yeah. And
Kinda.
like implementing that into D&D would be and it's an interesting way to defeat a villain that you can't necessarily just hit with a stick until it's dead.
Right. Like have the party being forced to learn that demon's name in order to banish it or whatever.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the podcast started, but it really does have to be a hook that the whole mission or the whole session might be like, oh, we need to find whatever archive has this demon's name, and then we can finally defeat it. And if you don't, and you go up against this demon, it's gonna destroy you.
Which might lead to maybe making a deal with that demon or devil, whatever it is.
Yep.
Another pretty cool thing to play around with is making deals rather than just fighting something until it's dead. Making deals with these demons to help you out or to leave you alone or something like that to further the goals of the demon and your players.
Right.
Yeah, when dealing with demons and fighting demons, it doesn't necessarily, because you did mention like you don't have to just kill it, but at the same time the demon doesn't just have to kill the players. It would be awesome if the party encounters a demon and one of them gets enslaved for eternity, because you did mention that like when you ran your campaign they were just basically like slaves in hell. How badass would it be that one of these demons comes into the material universe, captures one
It's
of your...
realm, Gershwin. The material realm.
My bad. And then like brings them back to hell, and you could either have that player just accept that and like you're dead, or it's a whole mission now to save this guy.
But not everything has to be bad. Like you said, if you do sign a deal with the devil or a demon, you could use that as a means of, like how you were saying, docile, to give them the opportunity to become a warlock with that demon as their
if
patron.
If you know your players are planning to multi-class somewhere down the line into warlock or something like that, then you can kind of plant the seeds early on, like, oh, this devil has an interest in you, this demon has an interest in you, depending on what they want to do. And then down the line, it makes more sense narratively, not just like, oh, I was a fighter until level 8, and now I'm a warlock, and I have magical powers now.
Yeah.
It makes more sense within the game.
Using a demon as basically a way to go into different realms is a really good
He's learning. He said realms.
There you go. Not universes. So using him as like a portal. Obviously when the demons come to the material universe, I regressed. They have to come from somewhere, and then like, introducing all the different realms and the layers of what is it, hell?
9 hells,
So using it as basically a boat.
Or a way to broaden the perspective of your players if they don't know anything about the outer planes or anything like that.
Where they once thought it was all just, their world, their material plane. Now there's more to it.
I mean, going back to making deals, while they can be good, I feel like it should always be the devil or the demon should always come out on top.
Yeah, kind of like the monkey's paw type.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it'd be really cool to actually write out a contract, give it to your players, and make them comb over every word to make sure what they're getting and how they're interpreting this deal is what they want. Because a devil's gonna put stuff in that contract that you don't realize. You read it some way, but he means in a different way, and then he has your soul for the rest of your eternity.
Yeah, having the contract already written is prep. So, and it's really important to have that, because it is difficult. If the deal is struck, I'm pretty sure that the party's going to have their things that they want, and it might be difficult for you to actually come up with something that is going to benefit the demon and not so much the party. So even doing that towards like the end of the session, and then it gives you an entire like week to prep how you can twist this deal that they just wrote. And maybe even sit there at the table and write it together. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. And then you get to role play as the demon. What's your best demon voice? Perfect.
That was pretty awesome.
Sorry for all the headphone users.
Take that, Beats by Dre users.
Too much bass. Yeah. Demons are a lot of fun. I do think, though, from playing 40K, the stereotypical demon has always been like the barbed demon, or like basically Khorne. Khorne represented wrath, represents like close combat. And when you're playing a game like D&D or even 40K, where combat is really like the bread and butter of the game.
The meat and potatoes.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, that makes more sense, right? Bread and butter would be the side dish. But anyways.
Or the appetizer.
Yeah.
Or the universe.
The universe.
You guys made me lose my train of thought. What was I saying?
Khorne is like the universal demon.
Okay. So, and now we know of demonettes. We know of like nurglings. We know of all of these different ways that you can change and alter demons to not be the stereotypical, close combat guys.
Yeah, because in classic D&D, most of the demons are, well, when you think of a demon, you're thinking of the stereotypical like European Christian demons.
Yeah.
But if you look at other cultures like tree demons and stuff like that, you can really do a lot of broad things. Like there can be a water spirit demon and stuff like that. You can put demons anywhere in your world.
Right.
That's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking, because there's an Asian demon that has like a bowl of water on top of its head, and if it spills, then the demon dies.
Oh, the Kappa.
There you go. Yeah, having something, when you introduce a homebrew demon, choosing what their weakness is a lot of fun. So you said obviously the name, right? Like saying his name banishes him, but finding different ways to actually kill this demon, not in the standard just like shoot him, stab him, or hit him with magic weapons. Because that is kind of lame, I think.
Yeah, you got to kill him with kindness sometimes.
Something badass that. Yeah.
Honestly, that would be an out of the box way to, like a demon of spite or something like that.
Yeah.
If you just give them a hug, they're all good now. They leave.
Just give him a huge kiss.
And what it does is it makes the party really think outside the box, and then in future encounters, they're going to do the same.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're not just going to see the villain as just like, oh, there's another dragon. I guess we're going to spend an entire session fighting this dragon. Yeah.
Just a bag of hit points
Yeah.
drop to zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. And person who's playing the berserker, he doesn't have to worry about anything.
No, because he's the favorite.
That's just going to be a running gag throughout all of these, isn't it?
It won't be if the DM fixes this problem. But he's not. But finding a flaw to the demon seems like something that's a lot of fun, and something that now I want to go out and try to mess around with.
Like real life, you want to go?
No, not
try to
create
go
a
with some
demon.
demons?
Actually,
I'm down. Let's try it.
check out our 40 facts on how to summon a demon. That kind of shows you how to summon a demon, at least in the 40k realm. But I'm pretty sure it works here. Salt. You have to use a lot of salt.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. No, not sweet salt.
I'm sure Gershwin has a lot of salt ready on him because
No.
That's true.
No. I see where this is going. Yeah, demons. Wow.
Now implementing 40k demons into D&D, do you think that'll be something that can work?
40k demons into D&D?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think it's
Definitely,
very
yeah.
easy. Yeah. The most challenging one. No, that's not even that challenging. Never mind. Because I was gonna say Tzeentch. Tzeentch is one of those demons that's like, you need to be smarter than the players, and half the time you're not. Right?
Because you're not a mastermind.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to bend the rules, show favoritism in order to be like Tzeentch. But I think that would be fun, and it goes back to that whole idea of the contract, where like the demon is playing somebody that's smarter than the party, and that is what Tzeentch is. That he's the the Lord of plots and. How could I not remember his other names?
Lord of Change.
There you go. Well, I mean, yeah.
Master of Machinations.
There you go.
I was gonna say master of mac and cheese, but
Mac and cheese.
There you go.
sign me up.
That'd be a
Tzeentch demon.
Slanesh.
Slanesh.
Because the
Would it
noise
be?
you make of stirring mac and
That's
cheese.
true.
That's Nurgle, though. Because you find pleasure in hearing the mac and cheese roll around. I find that it's disgusting. And entropy, because it's cooling down. What other 40k?
Let's go to Slanesh. That's something that we kind of glossed over.
That's
How would
something
you-
that you don't want to implement if your family members are at the table?
No, even better.
Or yeah, even there you go. So with the mechanic of fear of like pushing the players away from the demon, having a demonette be the exact opposite and charm the player.
like a succubus. Like
Yeah.
you want to seduce them into whatever their goals are.
Now I want to ask you guys this, because this is something that I've always wanted to run in a D&D session, but have always been scared because I think there's a taboo of
Kissing between players.
no, not kissing.
Strip D&D.
Oh.
What I was thinking is if the demonette is gonna charm one of the players, all of a sudden you and that player are now gonna go up against the party. So have you guys ever been in a scenario where you kind of put the party against each other?
Yes. It was a ghost possessing another person, and literally they just stopped trying to attack that person. It's like, yeah, we know you're being possessed, but we don't want to hurt you.
Okay.
So they just completely ignored that person, even though that person was still hurting the rest of the party. They're just like, oh, it's okay. Like, I'm getting hit by you, but, it's not your fault. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that wasn't what I was wanting to get out of that encounter.
Right.
Because they're completely now ignoring that person. And which I wanted the opposite. I wanted them to kind of think of ways to bring that person back. Maybe have them recall a memory of them, or have something along the lines to kind of snap them out of that possession.
Yeah, because this is going to get a little off topic, but it is something that I wanted to bring up because I've always been curious to know player versus player on the in D&D is probably one of the most fun things that I think you can do, just because when you're going up against the DM, you know that behind the DM screen, the DM could be doing whatever he wants. But if you two players are going up against each other, no, you guys, it's a 40K game basically. You know that both of you guys have the same rules, unless there's favoritism and the DM
That's why I gotta pick the favoritism person.
So be on their side.
Yeah.
Well, but have you guys done that where it's just like as a DM you kind of just step back and be like, all right, yeah, fight each other?
I think that's the wargamer in you that likes the competitiveness, PvP
Yes.
versus
Somebody
D&D.
who has the same rules as you. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been a DM where there's been PvP. I don't think. Not that it was super important, but I think as a DM, you just sit back and say, yeah, like if you guys want to fight, like there's nothing really I can do about it. It's up to the other players to try to stop you. So like just roll the initiative, keep track of the initiative for them or something like that.
Yeah.
But then just let the players go to town.
I think they would be really badass for a demon to do something like that, because then you are role playing the demon who's just kind of sitting back and being like, okay, yeah, fight it out.
It wasn't demonic possession, but it can be used in the same way. One of my characters in my old campaign, the barbarian of the party got charmed, and we had no idea how to stop it, and he literally just killed all of us because it was just so strong. And that can be like if you were to possess the big bruiser of the group,
yeah,
and then that's right next to the wizard who thinks they're safe, and the demon possesses him and just starts murdering him, make him a huge threat, they're gonna have to either kill him, knock him out, or try to stop this however
Do you think it's okay to kill a player when they're possessed? Because it's not the player's fault.
I think there should probably be mechanics for them to roll dice to get out of it before you just kill them. Unless, I don't know. I can't think of it, because as the player that would feel real bad if you're just like, roll save for possession, I failed. You get possessed, you're a puppet, and then when he leaves, you die.
Yeah, a few bad rolls just cost you your character.
A few bad rolls is different. I can understand that, but one roll and you die, that's painful. But if there's like 3 or 4 in a row, then maybe.
Yeah, a way around that, because I've been a player that has been possessed, and when that happened, the DM took control of my character. But if the DM wouldn't have taken control of my character and said, hey, roleplay being possessed, roleplay wanting to kill the party, kind of like what you said with the berserker guy. I don't know if in that situation was the DM in control of the berserker.
No, the player was so happy that he could kill us that he just went to town and murdered
because
all of us.
I think I have the same. I would have had the same feeling if all of a sudden the DM was like, "Hey, you could kill people. Go for it."
Yeah.
I think, and if the party killed me, I would not feel bad. Like, hey, I tried to kill the party and the party killed me. That's badass.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it can go both ways, right?
You just gotta, as a DM, you have to have trust in your players that they're going to be able to do that without
Getting butthurt.
Yeah, without things spilling out of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demons are using demons as a way to like mess with the party. I think is one of the most fun things. Again, it goes back to that whole idea of like you are role playing a smarter character without actually having to be smarter than the people at the table. Really, what you're doing is just saying like, go at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to being smarter than the party, It's more of saying, no, you can't do that, and yes, I can.
Or even like when the players are planning at the table,
You
use that knowledge.
Right.
Because a mastermind would foresee the players
That.
wanting to do stuff like this.
Right.
Because they're way super smart.
Yeah. Or
So
maybe
it's not necessarily metagaming. It's like, oh, this guy's so smart. He knew that you're going to do something like this, if
Yeah.
not exactly this.
where you would normally like leave the room and have your party like come up with a plan. Just listen in.
Yeah. That's Zinch?
Yeah.
It would be Zinch, yeah.
Well, Slimmer
Or any demon,
right?
like
Because I could
generic
charm 'em.
demon.
Yeah. When it comes to Nurgle, I think Nurgle, the biggest struggle with showcasing a demon that is all about like entropy and decay and nastiness, it kind of goes into what we were talking about last week with like gory horror. Atmosphere is really important if you want to create a demon that encompasses like gruesomeness and
If you want to do some good atmosphere, just eat like a bunch of Chipotle the night before and just let it rip at the table.
Ooh, Taco Bell for me.
That's right, and then just that's using all 5 senses.
There you go. Just stand on top of the table
Yeah.
and crouch.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like I'm about to go number 2, but you're my favorite. Step out of the room for now. That way he doesn't have to experience all.
That's forced, but yes.
I think Nurgle would actually not be super difficult because the theme is like they don't feel pain. They're all about disease and stuff. Maybe
Spreading
implement
disease.
diseases
Mhm.
in the game, something that you don't really see a lot of, and at least in my experience with D&D, it's like getting diseases. Like there's not a lot that happens, but Nurgle demons, like that's their whole jam.
Right.
Spray like green goop at them, and if they get in their mouth, roll a con save, and if they fail, you have some sort of awful disease that you have to get healed. Otherwise, you're probably gonna die or become a poxwalker, which would be really cool.
Yeah. I think that is a really good way to implement minor demons. They're the ones spreading the plague, and then your big, great unclean one is the demon that you want to defeat, but you don't ever see until the end of that little campaign or whatever.
It'd be really fun to role play as the DM to have like Nurglings in the game. Like maybe like the mouthpieces for the big bad demon if they want to make deals with these guys or stuff like that. You got little Nurglings running around. Be part more comedic side.
Yeah. Also using, this might be going a little off topic, but using like other cool mechanics that are found in different monsters in the DM or the book, using them for demons. Because what you're describing with like Nurglings, whenever I think of Nurglings, I think of like goo. So like the black, what is it?
Black pudding.
There you go. Doing things like that and connecting it to the demon. Whereas the black pudding, that's not.
Yeah.
That's elemental, right?
Yeah,
Or
you just
something like
reskin cool monsters and make them more plaguey. Especially with like oozes and stuff, they fit in pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Like breath weapons, like taking dragon breath weapons or something like that and just making it like bile and poison and just disease.
Yeah.
Really cool way to just have like the great unclean one just like vomit a swath of disease onto your players.
Yeah, and then instead of trying to defeat this demon, really what you're trying to do is maybe save the village from the plague, trying to use the, like, what are they called? The healers in the group to actually be the ones to save
Clerics.
Yeah, to save the day.
Or get some help for some druids because they're like killing the forest and something like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe your goal is not to kill the demon, but just to like hack off like a finger. That way you can reverse engineer a potion.
Yeah, that's actually really badass.
Yeah. Or maybe like just no demons at all, but the demons started like a black plague type event where like this plague is spreading through the whole continent and you have to find a way to halt it, reverse it.
Yeah.
It could be like a whole campaign arc.
Mm-hmm.
Corn. That one's pretty easy, right?
With corn, yeah, it's pretty basic.
It's pretty stereotypical demon, all up in your face, wants your skull, wants your blood. I feel like that'd be more or less, less reasoning with a corn demon.
Definitely, unless you're like kind of keeping like a kill count, and maybe like the berserker or something like that has 20 kills. At that point, maybe he's caught the demon's eye, and then certain events will start to transpire to get that character to the favor of like chaos.
Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
There's a demon in the 40k lore that's specific. Like, he's basically the Hound of Khorne, and he goes and if Khorne has somebody that wronged him, he sends out this hound. I wish I could remember his name, but he sends him out through the different universes. The outside of the warp, basically, because that's what it is in 40k. But and then he chases the whoever he's trying to kill. It would be really badass if you do want to implement Khorne demons to use that specific demon and say, like, it turns out that one of the party members pissed off the god of rage, and he sent out his hound, and then it becomes almost a chase. I don't know if you guys have had experiences running sessions where basically the party's just trying to run away from this thing. And trying to find a way not to get killed by this thing chasing them, or lose themselves or something.
It kind of ties into what we talked about last week about slasher horror.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very similar. Like, you can't really find a way to kill it, or maybe if you do, it just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And you just have to find a way to either stop it or hide or something like that.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the cleric in the group, who has to somehow make it so that this demon can't appear in the material realm. Because like in 40k and I think in D&D, when you kill a demon, you don't really kill the demon. It just goes back to wherever it came from, and then it can come back.
Right.
So showing the party showing them that no matter how many times you kill this creature, it's going to be able to come back. So you need to figure out a way so that he doesn't come back.
Also, another instance that forces your players to think outside the box.
Yep.
You can implement true names and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's also another cool way to really let your clerics shine.
But do you feel like that's too overpowered? Like, let's say you're in a campaign that's all about like demons, and that cleric has the ability to like turn undead or outright kill undead at a certain challenge rating. Doesn't that make it just too...
Well, demons aren't undead.
Well, just like saying.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you want to let your players shine at what they're good at.
Right.
Just got to work around it in creative ways, I guess, so it's not just, a bunch of demons show up, turn demons, and they all run away. Because I think there's like a level requirement. So
right.
if you throw big bad demons at them, they're not going to be able to do that. But I feel like if you're running a demon heavy campaign, and it's going to be enhanced if you have a cleric or some sort of religious paladin or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because they're going to be super invested.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the barbarian might be like, oh, okay, I'll just kill this thing, and we're done with it. But the cleric's going to be like, oh, this is like way big of a deal because they're against the gods or whatever.
Yeah. As players, when you guys are presented with demons, it really is the challenge as a player is to not just see that a demon as just a punching bag, or what did you say? Like
bag of hit points.
Yeah, there you go. And finding different ways. Maybe the DM, his intention is to just throw a monster at you, but if the party tries to come up with a different way of maybe even enslaving the demon, it would be really badass, because in 40k they have these things called demon hosts. So if the party, if you are a player, talk to the DM and be like, hey, is there any way that I can take this demon's soul and put him into my squire, or put him into this guy that I don't like in the village, and then it just creates this cool new scenario that you came up with alongside the DM, or making the suggestion to the DM.
Yeah, because now you got to think of, is it morally right to do this, depending on your alignment for your character.
Yeah, and as a player, you basically gave that to the DM. It's like, hey, here you go. As a DM, you could also do that too. Show possession and then ask, like, is this morally okay? As it turns out that this priest is using
Kiddly diddler.
Yeah. to basically stop a demon from coming in, but in the process he's damaging these children. Then it just becomes a moral thing of like, well, do we let the demon come in, or do we let the priest continue to do that to the children?
And what's gonna happen when there's a demon inside this kitty diddler?
Right. Now you gotta kill a kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can play with moral things when it comes to demons, just because I feel like that's what is in the whole Christian belief.
And maybe that's the only way to kill the demon is to put it into human host, so you can kill the human host.
Mm-hmm.
It just, demons are a lot more broad than what I tend to see how they're used in D&D games.
Yeah, they're not just punching bags, or bags of hit points. I'm gonna get it right someday. And then that did bring another. Wait, no, I lost it. I had an idea and I lost it. But yeah. Demons.
Demons.
Mondes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you banish your demon in your campaign? You just say it backwards?
Yeah. Most people don't think
clever.
that way.
That's clever.
Yeah. Just like your campaign where it's like, if you go into a room, you got to go out backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody thought of it.
They did it by mistake.
That's
that
true.
was fun.
Yeah. So maybe that could be your way of banishing a demon.
Just saying their name backwards.
Mm-hmm. Or reverse time until it didn't exist. Which I don't think that's a thing in D&D, right? Like there's no spell that reverses time.
I don't think so.
But I mean, it's D&D. You can do
you
whatever
do
you
whatever
want, right? Well, there has to be some divination spell that allows you to do that. I feel like
Maybe.
Since we're on the topic of like time travel, there's another tabletop or another role-playing game that I haven't played, but I heard about. And what they do is there are scenarios where, like, let's say you're trying to break into a cathedral to destroy a demon, and instead of planning how you're going to invade this demon's home or whatever, the party doesn't plan anything, and they just go into it, and then there are key scenarios where the party can use a kind of like time stamp and say, like, for example, in this example of like going into a temple, maybe the party gets to the temple and sees that there's guards, and then they use their little time token and say, well, previously what I did is I bribed one of the guards to let me pass.
Kind of like retroactive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
So using that's just like something you can use on pretty much anything, but I just thought about it now that we were talking about this time travel stuff. But we could do a whole topic on time travel, right?
That's true.
A whole podcast on time travel.
Maybe we already did.
Whoa.
We didn't. Spoiler alert. Another cool thing that you can implement your players into is if you have any, it's kind of specific to if you have Tiefling players, which is, in my experience, pretty popular race, is they have demonic or devilish heritage. So if you're using demons, implement that in their backstory or pull stuff from the backstory, make them a part of the demon's plans or something like that.
For sure. That was actually my first character that I ever made was a Tiefling, and I didn't really know that there were different variations of Tiefling based on what demon or devil they had their origin with. So because of that, it was a very generic Tiefling that I created, but knowing that now, I feel like it's opened up so much more backstory-wise and moving forward. Because depending on which one you go with, you have different buffs and attribute stats increases to your character now.
Yeah, and that ties in kind of what we were talking about earlier with the Warlock too, right? Because it is a class that is somehow connected to the monster that you're trying to.
Yeah, it specifically ties in with what you want your campaign to be around. So it'd be a missed opportunity if you didn't somewhat implement that player in whatever way.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something that if you're a brand new player and you're just using the player's handbook, it's not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, if you have no idea that Xanathars exist or Unearthed Arcana, it severely limits your imagination and your play style based on what is just in that book.
Not only that, if you're a brand new player, it can be overwhelming for the DM just go, okay, look through all these books to see your demons and devils and your inspiration and all that stuff. So it's and it'd almost be better for the DM to like keep it secret. But like, if I'm using demons and the party obviously doesn't know, I got a tiefling. Maybe the first contact is an imp, just flying up to your tiefling in the middle of the night when they're on watch or something and being like, hey. So what's the deal with you guys? Like, I got some stuff. My master has some stuff going on. I just want to know if you're going to be a problem or if you want to help me out. Stuff like that.
Yeah, or you could have like a very pivotal moment in your campaign influence what legacy your tiefling has.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's one in the book called Mephistopheles. This guy's all about charisma and intelligence. Maybe you unknowingly made your tiefling very likable, which is rather strange because usually tieflings aren't liked by humans, but for some reason you are. And as you become more and more popular, you gain the fame. And through fame, now there's like a cleric hunter that says, oh, you must be a follower of Mephistopheles or whatever his name was. And now it's like, your background, but because of that, you're also being targeted by a certain religious leader or something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds badass. I'm sure that there are other ways that you guys have used demons in your campaigns. If you guys have any other comments or scenarios, please comment it down in the comment section below. I hope you guys are enjoying these podcasts where we banter about D&D. And if you guys want us to talk about a certain topic, comment down in the comment section below. Do you guys have any sending off words for the guys and gals who are listening?
Just think outside the box. Don't have your demons just be reskinned anything else that they could have been. Make it a reason that you're using demons as opposed to any other creature.
Yeah.
And don't summon a demon, or else I'll have to bring Gershwin over to you because this man has salt.
Mad salt.
I kind of want to summon a demon. What are we doing after this? Summoning a demon?
Let's go for a succubus.
All right.
I thought we were going to Popeyes.
I'm pretty sure there's demons in there.
In the bathroom?
Yeah.
That's why it's always...
It's always locked.
Yeah.
Employees only, but nobody goes in.
Talk to you guys next week.
As always, this is the Sound Alchemist.
Docile creature.
Gershwin.
And we are out of here.
Oh, I guess that's what my